Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to this live stream. It's all about how to supercharge your success with stacking your habits. And I'm really excited about this one because I think over the last 7 or 8 years, I really dove into the power of leveraging our habits to speed up our success. And so for today, I'm really excited about this topic because I'm just looking at my journey over the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And I remember waking up every day, going to my corporate job, not wanting to be there, looking out the window, hoping and wishing and praying that I could be somewhere else, making more money, making a greater impact, and having more influence. And here I am, 10 years later, quit that job, started my own business, speak on stages, have a couple books out. And and a lot of that has to do with the habits that I incorporated at that time. So I want to talk about this today. I want it to be interactive. I see Destiny's in the building. I see Tyrone in the building. Welcome everybody. Great to see you all. I'm trying to get to my Instagram here so I can see the chat in Instagram because it doesn't allow me to see it here. Awesome. So thank you all for being here. If you're watching the replay, thanks so much. We're talking about habits today. Now, I got a question for all of you. Before we get too far down the road, I think one of the things that we have to learn to do is to define what a habit is. And a habit's really just a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly, and it tends to occur subconsciously. So there are behaviors that happen over and over and over again, and you do it without thinking. That's what a habit is, right? So it's really, let's be clear. I just wanted to set the stage. So my question for you is in the chat, let me know some good habits that you have and let me know some bad habits. Let's start with the good habits. What are some good habits that you have? Maybe it's exercising, eating, maybe you're good with money. I don't want to tell you. You tell me. Let me know in the chat some of the good habits that you have. Pull this up. Good evening, Destiny. Got her notebook here. I love it. Destiny always comes with a notebook. Love that. Tyrone in the building, evening. So Destiny said tenacity. Oh, I love that one. Tenacity. That's a good one. Not giving up. Keith said good budgeting. I love that. I love that. Destiny said never giving up. Awesome. I love it. I love it. Personal development. This is a really big one for me. I absolutely love personal development, personal growth. Perseverance. You are all on fire. I'm loving this. I'm loving it. It's really great. I love to hear all of these. Any final really good habits that you have? Really good. I need to definitely seeing some of the ones that you are all working on. I know I need to work on some of them myself. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate. So those are some of the good habits. Let's switch it up. What are some of the bad habits that you have? What are some of the habits that you know that you need to work on? Let me know some of those habits. And it's okay. Look, there's no judgment here. There's no judgment when it comes to this stuff. As I always say, if you want to take your life to another level, you have to be honest with yourself. That is always the first step in any change that we have. It's about honesty. Keith said bad eating habits. Yep, I can I can definitely relate to that. Sometimes I'm really great with it, and then sometimes I just fall off and I'm really, really bad with my eating habits. So I can relate to that one for sure. Any other bad habits that anyone has that they care to share? For me, Let's see. Oh, let's see what Tyrone said. I'm a perfectionist, so I try to work with a team, but letting go of control. So you have a hard time letting go of control. Yeah, I think that's a tough one for a lot of people. Because you're a perfectionist and you want things to be a certain way, it's really challenging to let go of control. Definitely get that. Any other bad habits? And when I say bad habits, they're really just habits that aren't serving you to the best of your ability, right? I think sometimes we have to kind of clarify that when we're talking about certain things. We need to be clear. When we're talking about bad habits, they're habits that just aren't really serving you as well as maybe your good habits. Awesome. So I love this. Listen, anytime we're thinking about change, we all have to understand that change always comes with giving ourselves a reality check. We got to be clear about where we are right now and where we want to go. And for a lot of us, we don't have that clarity. We're not being open and honest with ourselves. So it's really, really important that we acknowledge that, look, I have some really great habits. I have some really powerful habits that are helping me, but I also have some habits that are holding me back from unleashing the potential or achieving major goals in my life. And so this is a great opportunity to take a look at those. Destiny said, I think I need to listen more and trust others' judgment. Yeah, thanks for that one. That's a powerful one as well. I think that understanding where you need to work and what you need to work on, I think that's really, really powerful. And I think that's a good one. Um, so you have some good habits, you have some bad habits. So another question for you. How many days does it take to form a new habit? How many days does it take to form a new habit? Let me know in the chat. What is your guess? How many days does it take to form a new habit, do you think? I'm always curious to know people's answer for this. 90 days? Keith said 90 days. That's a good guess. Destiny said 3 months. Good guesses so far. These are really good guesses. How many days does it take to form a new habit? 90 days. And this is on average, 6 months. Okay. So we're talking about how to supercharge your success with um, taking control of your habits and super stacking your habits. So how many days does it take to form a new habit? Welcome Instagram family. The answer is there was actually research done on this. And the answer is on average, it takes about 66 days to form a new habit, according to a Hallmark study. So it takes 66 days on average. Now, we're saying average, right? Because it can be more, can be less. So think about this. Why do you think that this is important? Why do you think the clarification of how long does it take to form a new habit? Why do you think that that's important? Lovemore said 60 to 90 days here on Instagram. Why is it important to understand on average how long it takes most of us to form new habits? Let me know in the chat. And I think this is really important information because all of these numbers were floating around about how long it actually takes to form a new habit. And so imagine if that number was less than 66 days. How would you react to that if you were doing something for less than that time and it just didn't become automatic? How would you think about that? I love what Keith said here. Keith said, it's important so you can manage your expectations. Lovemore said on Instagram, so we can keep going. Knowing that it takes on average 66 days to form a new habit is really important because at one point people thought it was 21 days. Then they thought it was 30 days. Then some people thought it was like 40 or 50. But now we know on average it takes 66. So it's exactly what Keith just said. It's about when you know that it takes longer than the 30 days that you thought, you can manage your expectations. And like Lovemore said, we know that we have to keep going. And that's really, really important because I think a lot of people, I know for me, I would fall off in terms of my health and wellness, and then I would decide to take control of it over again. And I would go to the gym for 20 or 30 days, and I would be like, I'm not seeing results. It's not really becoming a habit. I would begrudgingly go to the gym. And so I would think to myself, well, why isn't it just happening? Why isn't this automatic? Why am I still struggling to get out of bed, to put on my clothes and go to the gym? It's been 20 days, it's been 30, it's been 50. So knowing that allows us to manage our expectations. And this is research, right? This was done through a study. They actually studied this, and it ranged. Like I said, it can be different for all of us, but it's important to know that average. So when you're going out there and you're starting a new habit and you're ready to break the bad habit and replace it with something more positive, don't be so hard on yourself because it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time for it to become automatic. Awesome. So I have 3 secrets that I want to share with you. I have 3 secrets about habits that I've learned over the last 7 or 8 years. And when it comes to habits, I've really just been studying what successful people do. I've been looking at successful people. I've been following people like Robin Sharma, Tony Robbins, Lisa Nichols. I've been following all of these highly successful people and saying, what do they do? And then I had a coach, and my coach who was highly successful, and he was showing me what he did. And I was reading books. So I've really been trying to figure out, how can I supercharge my success? How can I have more joy, more happiness in my life? And I realized that a lot of it focuses on mindset, yes, but a lot of it is about our habits, right? What we say to and about ourselves. So I want to share 3 secrets about habits that are going to supercharge your success. Okay. You ready for the 3 secrets? Let me know. Type yes if you want me to drop these 3 secrets. Type yes in the chat if you want me to drop these 3 secrets. I'm not sure what's happening with Instagram, but Instagram, if you want to follow, you can click the link on Instagram and you can join us on YouTube if you like, or you can stay here. Lovemore said yes, yes. Okay. She said yes, yes. Keith said yes. All right. Let's get into the secrets. Secret number 1 about habits is habit awareness is a key ingredient to shift your habits. Now, I know this sounds pretty straightforward, but as I always say, awareness is one of the most important areas of our life that we don't spend enough time. We don't spend enough time on self-reflection. We don't spend enough time on thinking about where we are, about writing things down. And when you look at your goals and what you want in your life, you have patterns. And I mentioned this in one of the other live streams. We all have what I call success patterns and failure patterns. And when you look at anything that you've achieved, anything that was difficult for you to achieve over time, if you look at why you were successful, you're going to notice that there's a pattern in terms of why you were successful. And anytime that you failed and you weren't able to achieve something, when you start to look back, you're going to notice a failure pattern. And a big part of that are your habits. What were you doing at the time? Hey, Mauricio, how are you doing? What were you doing at the time that made you successful? And what were you doing at the time that held you back? So when we're talking about habits, secret number one is habit awareness is the key ingredient if you want to shift your habits and you want to change your life. You have to think about what is going on. How did I become overweight? How did I get in this financial trouble? What is happening in my relationship that is a struggle now? We have to learn to ask ourselves powerful questions around the habits that we've developed. And are those habits helping us to move forward or are they holding us back? So that's secret number one. So when we talk about habits, some of you may have heard this. There's a book called The Power of Habit. This is the book here, The Power of Habit. This is a good book here, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. This is one of the best books on habits. And the other one is Atomic Habits. This is another great book, Atomic Habits. This is by James Clear. So in the Power of Habit, he talks about this habit loop. And this is how our habits work. We have what's called a cue or a trigger. Then we have a routine. Then we have a reward. So we have a cue, a routine, and a reward. That's the habit loop. So a cue could be time, right? Certain times of day, you know it's time for you to eat. Maybe it's breakfast time, maybe it's lunch. So let's say you eat lunch every day at noon. The cue or the trigger is it's noon. That's the time. The routine may be you order some food, right? Or if you're working in the office, you go out to get something to eat. That's the routine. And then the reward is you feel good, you feel satisfied because you satisfied that craving that you had because you were hungry. So how do you change a habit? What if that's a bad habit? What if the cue is you're hungry and every time you're hungry, you go and you eat, really bad food. You eat food that doesn't give you energy. You eat, a big greasy burger and fries every single day and you wash that down with a soda. So that's the routine. And then the reward is you feel satisfied, but now you feel tired and sluggish and you don't have the energy. So how do you change a bad habit to make it a more powerful habit? Well, you can't replace the cue or the trigger because it's always going to be there. At this time of day, something is going to happen, or every time you're in this place, or every time you do this thing, that's the trigger or the cue. That's never going to change. And the reward is you want to be satisfied. You want that craving to be satisfied or that curiosity to be satisfied. So the reward is not going to change. So what is going to change? The routine. You have to change the routine. You have to change what it is that you do. So, for me, sometimes I struggle with my food situation. And I used to be really bad about 4 or 5 months ago because I wasn't really taking control of my health. And about 5 months ago, I made a decision. Look, I am going to start eating healthier. I'm going to start exercising. I made up my mind that I was going to do certain things. So what I did was I had to start to look at my routine. And I was in a bad routine. I was just waking up out of bed, doing some of my morning ritual, but I wasn't exercising. And if I did exercise, I would go and eat something that wasn't healthy. So that was a bad routine, right? So for all of us, we have to think, what is that routine, that thing that is holding you back from breaking through that bad habit? What is the thing that's holding you there? Right. You're going to wake up, you're going to have these triggers, you're going to have these cues, but what's the thing? What is that routine, the thing that you're doing that's not serving you well? Is it eating poorly? Is it bad decisions with money? Is it a mindset thing where you're very negative with yourself certain points throughout the day or throughout the week? What is that negative routine that you have? Let me know in the chat. What's the negative routine that you have that is holding you back? Let me know. Type it in the chat. What is a negative routine that you have that's holding you back? Let me know in the chat, everybody. Love to hear from you. We're gonna participate. We're gonna make this interactive. That's the best way for this to be. And look, there's no right answers or no wrong answers. I just want to hear from you. I just want to know what's working, what's not working. That's all I want to do. That's it. So, what is a routine that you have, something that's negative that's kind of holding you back? Let me know. Everybody's quiet now. You guys, you got me pouring out my heart. So one of them for me was food, right? I would have this craving, and I would crave something to eat, and I wasn't making good, healthy food choices. So I would either go to the kitchen and make something that wasn't healthy, or I jump on Uber Eats and order some food that wasn't good for me. So for you, what is a routine that is limiting, that's not serving you well, something that is getting in the way of you achieving what it is that you want to achieve in your life? I'm the only one that has bad habits. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. What is something that is getting in the way of you achieving what it is that you want? Lovemore said, when I'm tired, I crave chocolate. Yes, definitely get that one. Lovemore said, when she's tired, she craves chocolate. Keith said he can't think of any, to be honest. That's okay. That's okay. So, what do we do? What do we do? We have the cue, we have the routine, and we have the reward. So, when it comes to bad habits, we have this cue, and we have to learn to make it invisible, right? We have to, stop watching the clock if you're craving, or you're hungry, or maybe you're not even hungry. See, here's the other thing. The thing with the cue is sometimes you might not even be hungry, but you see that it's 12 o'clock and you force yourself to eat, right? So for some of us, it's like we're programmed to do certain things at certain times, even though it's not beneficial to us. Gail said she goes to bed late. Definitely can understand that one, Gail. So the cue for some of us is just because it's 12 o'clock, or just because it's 1, or just because it's 5, I need to go eat something. Well, maybe you're not hungry at that time, right? So the cue, we have to make the cue invisible, meaning if you know that you're always watching the clock, and as soon as it's noon, or as soon as it's a certain time, you go and do a certain thing, then maybe you should hide the clock. Maybe you should put your phone face down so you can't see the time. You want to make it invisible. Another way, if you want to break a bad habit, is you have to make the routine very difficult. So what does that mean? Well, one of the things that I know is, like, maybe if you order a lot of Uber Eats, then maybe what you should do is delete the Uber Eats app off your phone. See, that will make it difficult, because so every time that you want to order Uber Eats, now you have to re-download the app. That could be a way to make it more difficult. Or maybe, sometimes you're the type of person where you just love to go on Amazon and buy all these different things. One of the things that you can do is remove your credit card from Amazon. So every time you want to go to Amazon to buy something, you have to re-add your credit card. That's how you would make it difficult to break a bad habit. And then the reward, make it unsatisfying. So, if you have to find a way to, like, make it so that you're not as satisfied and happy once you get that result. And for some of us, it could be like, after you know that you ate a really heavy meal, or you ate a meal that's not really healthy, maybe the reward or the consequence is Now you have to actually sit down and write how you feel after eating that meal. So that would make the reward unsatisfying, right? Because now I ate this big, fat, greasy meal. Now I have to sit down and I have to write out how I feel. And then another thing to take it to another level is at the end of the week, you have to go back and read how you felt after eating all those unhealthy meals. So that reward is not going to be satisfying, right? I don't know about you, but that's not going to be a satisfying reward for me. Does that make sense to you? Is it making sense? So in order to break a bad habit, we have to make it so that it's not, we have to make it difficult. With the cue, we have to make it difficult. Maybe it's hiding the cookies in the cupboard, so you have to get up in the cupboard and get them. You have to make it invisible, and you have to make it unsatisfying. So how do you create good habits? Well, to create good habits, we want to make sure that it's obvious. We want to make it easy, and we want to make it satisfying. So what would be a great example of that? A great example of that would be making it obvious, easy, and satisfying. One thing that I started doing is when I started working out again, I started setting up all of my workout equipment the night before, so that when I wake up in the morning, my clothes are already laid out, the weights are set up. If I'm working out at home, I get my smoothie cup ready with the protein already in it. All I have to do is add my milk or my water, shake it up, and then I go take my protein shake, and everything is set up in my workout area. So that makes it easy. I don't have to struggle to figure it out. And when we make it easy for us to take action, of course, we're going to take action on those goals or dreams. We have to learn to remove resistance. I want you to say this to yourself. Remove resistance. Anytime you want to create a new goal, a new habit, you have to remove resistance or remove friction. And usually that comes with setting things up the night before. So what can you do the night before to set yourself up for success when you're starting to take action on that new habit? So in the chat, let me know a new habit that you need to form. What is a new habit that you need to take on? Let me know in the chat. We're gonna have a little dialogue here. What's a new habit that you're trying to form? And if you don't know the habit, then tell me a new goal that you're trying to achieve. A new habit or a new goal that you're trying to achieve. Lovemore said, dance more frequently. I love that. I love it. Awesome. That's cool. Keith said, get up early. And then he corrected himself and he said, extra early. I love that. I love that. So Mike, Gail said, reading more. These are good. These are good. So as you're typing these habits into the chat, I want you to tell me why this is important to you. Lovemore, why do you want to dance more frequently? Gail, why do you want to read more? Keith, why do you want to wake up extra early? Let me know your why for that new habit that you're trying to develop. Why is that important to you? What is it going to allow you to do more of? Loving the participation. Let's keep it going. This is great. For anybody who's just tuning in or who's watching the replay, we're talking about how to supercharge your success by stacking your habits and supercharging your habits. Lovemore said she wants to dance more frequently because it will be better for her more overall health and joy. That's a good why. I like that. It's a good why. Keith said he wants to wake up extra early so he can be more productive. I love that. One of the things that I talk to my coaching clients about is this. It's like a lot of people think that, if they're not waking up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., that they're not going to be productive, right? Because so many people say, oh, you got to wake up when the sun wakes up. And I'm in the school of, I just believe that everybody who has a goal or a dream or who wants to be more productive, I think that we should all aim to wake up, 30 to 60 minutes earlier. And then it's about what you do in that 30 to 60 minutes. So, if you're used to getting up at 8 o'clock, maybe try getting up at 7:30 and doing these 3 or 4 things in the morning. And that's going to help you supercharge your success. Gail said she wants to read more because it's going to help with her personal development. I love that. I love that. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about is the mornings are very powerful. Whenever somebody comes to me and says, hey, Coach Stone, there's just not enough time in the day for me to get this done, to do my work, to do stuff with the family, and to work on my goals or my personal development. There's just not enough time. I always say this: we have the same amount of time as Oprah, as Elon Musk, as everybody else who appears to be a lot more productive than us. And one of the things that I often challenge people to do is to do a time audit, where I get them to look at how they're spending their time over 2 or 3 or 4 days. And when they say, I don't have enough time for this or that, at the end of that time audit, when we sit down and we take a look at where you're spending your time, there's always 2, 3, 4 hours in there that you could give back to yourself to allow you to work on the things that you want to work on to take your life to another level. And if there isn't, guess what? We can all do what Keith just suggested. Wake up a little earlier and get going on our goals and our dreams. So if you find that you just don't have enough time in the day, do a time audit. Like, make a note of how you're spending your time in general for 1 or 2 days. And I promise you, you'll find at least 1 or 2 or 3 hours that you can do some of these things that you want to do. I keep saying it over and over and over again, and I'm saying it because this is one of the things that changed my life. This is one of the things that took me from being stuck in my corporate job, being overworked, stressed out, overweight, lacking confidence. This thing really took my life to another level. And that was self-reflection. Asking myself powerful questions. If you want to change your situation, if you want to change your life, if you know you're not where you want to be in some area of your life, ask yourself more powerful questions. The questions that you're afraid to ask yourself. And one of the questions that I used to ask myself when I was stuck is, what am I going to do to change my situation? What am I going to do to change my situation? When I was 40 pounds overweight, I said, what am I going to do to change my situation? What am I going to do to lose this weight? And then I automatically went to, here's all the things that I can't do. And I got very negative, because that's what we do. Our brain is negative. Our brain is designed to protect us. And it tries to protect us from ourselves. We failed in the past and it was painful. So your brain says, look, you tried this thing before, or you thought about it and you weren't successful. So I'm trying to protect you. So let's just be negative. But you have to break through that. And the way you break through that is by asking yourself very powerful questions. If you're stuck in some area of your life, you can ask yourself, one, what am I supposed to learn in this moment? Because sometimes in the pain, you'll find purpose. Let me say that again. Sometimes in the pain, you will find purpose. So when you're going through something that's painful, one question you can ask yourself is, what am I supposed to learn in this moment? And then the other thing you can ask yourself is, what am I going to do to change the situation? And I promise you, if you write these two things down, these two questions, and you start to write down the answers, and the answers may not come on day 1, day 5, day 10, day 20, day 30. Eventually, those answers will come to you. And when they come to you, then you got to get into what you're going to do next. And that's what we're talking about. What are the actions that you're going to take consistently to move your life forward, to unleash more of your potential, so that you're programming your mind for success? That's what habits do. It's not about how you feel. I always tell audiences, I always tell my clients, it's never about how you feel. Because a lot of us say, I don't feel like going to the gym. I don't feel like sending on another resume. I don't feel like making another client call. I don't feel like posting something else on social media. It's never about how you feel. It's about your why. Why did you start in the first place? Why is this a must? Why do you want to achieve this thing? What is it going to do for you and for your family? We get so caught up in about feelings. It's never about how you feel. And so when we can learn to start to auto program our mind with habits, you don't have to worry about feelings, because the habits are going to kick in subconsciously. Let me know if this is making sense to you. Let me know if you're liking this content. I like this topic because it's about learning how to reprogram our minds. I've said this many times. Our brains are supercomputers. And so what we put into it is important, because that gives us the output. So if you wake up in the morning and you have powerful routines, and you do what I call, the 8 M's of a powerful morning ritual, even if you do 4 of them, meaning, meditation, mantra, and movement. Those are 4 of the 8 M's that I teach people about how to start your days on fire. Meaning, meditation, mantra, and movement. Meaning is either you pray, or you think of things that you're grateful for, or you give thanks to your creator and thanks for all that you have. That's meaning. Mantra is affirmations. When you look in the mirror, what are those positive, powerful things that you're saying to yourself? Today, I'm landing 5 clients. Today, I'm going to impact 6 people. I know that I have a champion inside of me. I know that I'm here and destined for greatness. What are you saying to yourself in the morning? That's your mantra or your affirmation, right? Meditation, a quick 2 to 3 or 5 minute clearing your mind, thinking about what do you want to attract today, creating more peace and calm and clarity in your life. That's meditation. And then the last M is movement, some type of exercise. One of the most powerful habits that we can all incorporate into our lives is movement, some type of exercise. There are so many physical, mental, and spiritual benefits of exercise. So many. And these are research backed. So if you can get some type of movement, if you can go for a walk, if you can do some exercise, a bike ride, any type of movement in the morning, it's going to have a positive ripple effect throughout the day. You're gonna have a more positive mindset. You're gonna be able to, sometimes when you're working out, you're able to actually solve difficult problems that you haven't been able to solve. It releases endorphins and things that make you feel good. Spiritually, you might be more connected with your creator. There are so many benefits of movement. So if you do those 4 things, that is what we call a habit stack. And I'll talk to you a little bit about what a habit stack is in a minute. But the 4 M's is meaning, mantra, meditation, and movement. You do those 4 things in the morning consistently for 66 days, you're going to notice and your vibration is elevated. You're going to notice that you have more clarity in your life, more peace, more calm. You're going to be more physically fit. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have more discipline. And one of the most challenging habits to develop for a lot of people is really around health and wellness. We don't really take care of ourselves. We focus so much on other things like making money or personal development or whatever it is, but we don't focus enough on our health. And our health is like one of those keystone habits. It's the core habit. A keystone habit is something that has a ripple effect in other areas of your life. And when you work on that one thing, it has this positive ripple effect through other areas of your life. So that's why I like to tell people to do some type of movement, some type of activity in the morning. This making sense to you? Lovemore said, great stuff. Awesome. You're ready for secret number 2. Let me know if you're ready for secret number 2. Type 2 in the chat. Give me some hearts. Okay. Instagram is ready for secret number 2. We are talking about how to supercharge your success, unlock more joy, more happiness, more success in your life by supercharging and stacking your habits. That's what we're talking about right now. If you're watching the replay, let me know if you're loving this in the comments. Before I get to secret number 2, let me know one takeaway that you have from secret number 1. What's one takeaway that you have so far? Let me know in the chat. What's one takeaway you have so far? One takeaway you have so far. Let me know in the chat. I want to see. As I was putting this together, a lot of things really resonated with me. But I want to hear from you. What has resonated? What's connected with you so far? What's a takeaway that you have so far? Lovemore said, movement creates. Movement creates. That's what Lovemore said. We have to get active. There's so many benefits of movement, and that should be a powerful habit that we have. Lovemore said, movement creates multi-layered benefits. Movement creates multi-layered benefits. Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Secret number 2. Here we go. Secret number 2, get accountable. Now, again, you might be saying, Coach Stone, this isn't really a secret, but we have to be accountable. If you want to learn to supercharge your habits, if you want to change your habits, we have to be accountable. And there's a number of different ways that we can be accountable. But you know for sure, if nobody is watching you, it doesn't matter if you don't do that thing, right? If you're not being accountable to somebody else, then you know that you can slack off. You know that you don't have to take action. So we have to learn to get accountable. Keith said, motion is lotion. Love it, love it. That's what one of his takeaways were. So we have to learn to be accountable. So how can you hold yourself more accountable for changing your habits? How can you hold yourself more accountable? Let me know. What are some ways that you can hold yourself accountable for your habits, for taking daily action? Let me hear from you. What are some ways you can hold yourself accountable? Lovemore said, plan the night before and have a mantra in the morning. Okay. That's one way to definitely get you organized. But how are you going to hold yourself accountable to do that? What is something that you would do to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you do that consistently? See, this is the biggest thing that we have to understand. If you want something different in your life, if you want to take your life to a new level, some area of your life to a new level, a big part of that is obviously awareness, knowing where you are right now and where you want to go. Where are you now and where do you want to go? And once you know what that gap is, this is where I am with my health, with my finances, in my relationship, with my personal development, with my spirituality. This is where I want to be. Now you see that gap from point A to B. Now you know the gap. Now you got to sit down and figure out what actions can I take to make that happen. So you got the actions. Now you have to do them consistently until they become a habit. But they're not going to become a habit if you're not holding yourself accountable. If you're not holding yourself accountable, it's not going to happen. So Keith said, have an accountability partner. Absolutely. That's definitely a way to hold yourself accountable. When I used to work out before, there was me and two of my friends. So we would all three of us would go to the gym together. And so when there were days where one of us didn't want to go, the other two would pull up to their house, pick them, and knock on the door and pick them up. So having an accountability partner is really powerful because it's going to make you take action every single day, or at least you got to think about taking action every day, because now you're holding yourself accountable through other people. So having an accountability partner is going to help you stay true to your word in terms of what it is that you want. Thanks, Keith. So let's check this out. Habits are really compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They make little difference day to day, but over months and years, they are enormous. And that's what James Clear said from Atomic Habits, the book. So think about that. Day to day, sometimes you don't see those results and you get discouraged because you're like, I'm not getting back what I'm putting out. I'm putting out a lot of energy to get in shape. I'm putting out a lot of energy to save money, to start my business, to write my book, to make my relationship better, to be a better parent, and it's not coming back to me. Why isn't this happening right now? Well, one thing that we said is on average, it takes 66 days, for something to be a habit, but also the results take time. What we have to understand is, for most of us, we didn't get in the situation that we're in overnight. It was years or months or years of thinking and acting and behaving the way that we did that got us where we are right now. So in order to change that, we have to understand that it's going to take time. But here's the thing about habits. It's like compound interest. The more that you do it consistently on a day-to-day basis, you might not see the effects right away, but guess what? Over time, a few months from now, a year from now, you are going to see enormous benefits. And here's the thing, what I realized, I'm just using fitness as an example, but what's interesting about this, and this is why it's so true, is because when I was like 40 pounds overweight, you go to the gym and you're not seeing the results that you want and you struggle with the results, right? And you get discouraged. You go, you look at the scale, nothing's really changed. Your clothes still fit the same. You're like, I'm eating healthy. I'm drinking my water, minding my business. I'm drinking water, minding my business. I'm exercising. Why aren't things changing? But what happens is, okay, maybe a week or two later, you lose a pound, and then maybe a pound, and then a few pounds. And then what happens is over the 5 or 6 months or 7 months, I lost the 40 pounds. So that was compound interest on my effort. But here's what it takes it to another level. Now my identity has changed. Now I see myself as someone healthy. So it's not just that I lost the weight, I start to behave and act as someone who is a healthy individual. That's the compound interest. It's not just that I receive the result. It's once you achieve that goal, you become somebody different because you had to become someone different to make it happen. That is the power of taking consistent action. You don't just get the result, but you become somebody different. You have a different mindset, a different way of thinking. And that takes you to another level because now you can leverage that thinking for another goal or another dream that you have. So that is the power of taking consistent action. That's compound interest on self-improvement. What's up, everybody? If you're just tapping in, we're talking about habits, how to supercharge your habits. And right now, this is what we're talking about. Taking daily consistent action, even though you don't see the results, will have a significant impact down the road, not just on achieving the goal, but on your mindset and who you become and how you think moving forward. Does this make sense to you? Let me know in the chat, everybody. Let me know if you're getting this, because when I saw this right here, I thought, wow, this is powerful. This statement right here is so powerful. I never thought about it like that. Right? The same way that we put our money into an investment and over time it grows and grows and grows because of compound interest. That's the same thing that happens with our habits when we take daily consistent action over time. This right here is very powerful. So when you think about what it is that you want and why it's a must, and you hold on to that, and you wake up every day with that in mind, you care less and less about feelings. You care less and less about failure. You care less and less about other people's opinions. What I realized for me is once I got clear about the impact that I wanted to make in the world and how I wanted to serve people with my gifts and my talents, I stopped the excuses, right? I always tell people you got to make your why bigger than your whining. Make your why bigger than your whining. Make all of the reasons why you want to achieve something, why you wake up every day, why you take consistent action, why you stay focused, why you bounce back when you fall off. Make those reasons why bigger than all of the excuses you can make to not take action. Bigger than other people's opinions who don't believe in you. Bigger than the fear of failing. Make that why bigger than all of that. So for me, once I figured out my why with things, I just stopped caring really about what other people have to say. And I stayed focused on taking daily consistent action, even when I wasn't seeing the results. So a lot of us have to get clear about what it is that we want, why it's a must, because that's what's going to hold us. That's what's going to carry us forward when we just don't want to get up and get out of bed or to do the thing. This making sense to everyone? Destiny said another way to hold yourself accountable is to get a coach and get some training. Absolutely. Some of us need some coaching. Some of us need some connections. And some of us, we need community. The 3 C's if you want to take your life to another level: community, connection, and coaching. If you look at anybody who's highly successful, they have all 3 of those things. They have a community, and maybe the community just 1 or 2 friends or 1 or 2 colleagues that are on the same level as them in terms of how they think. They think big just like they do. They have a community, that's their community. They have strong connections with people, and they have coaches. So that's one of the things that, if you want to elevate your life, think about those three things. So coming back to that question, ways to hold ourselves accountable, get an accountability partner. Another thing that you can do that's not going to cost you a penny is make public declarations. For me, 5 months ago, I started taking control of my health. And what I wanted to do was I decided that I was going to walk, 5 or 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day. And one of the things that I did to hold myself accountable, I didn't do this every day or every week, was I decided to post pictures of my step count. So anybody who's been following me, you've been checking my stories, you probably saw me posting some pictures every once in a while saying, hey, here's the steps that I walked today. And there were days that I fell short. Like I might have did 2,000 and not 6, or I might have did 5. And then there's days that I did 10 or 14. So that's one way that I held myself accountable. Another thing that I did, and this is a habit stacking thing, one of the things that really supercharges your success was I decided that I wanted to make a greater impact with individuals by just speaking and talking what's on my heart. And I wanted to take control of my health and start walking. So I decided to combine the two. And sometimes I do these walk and talks. I turn on my camera while I'm walking and I just start talking to people about different things, just different topics or things that people have DM'd me about. And I do these walk and talks. So that is an example of how you can stack habits. I'm walking and getting my steps in. And at the same time, I'm connecting with individuals during my walk and talks. So how can you stack some habits? What's something that you can do to stack a habit? Lovemore said, I love your walk and talks. Think about some of the things that you can do to hold yourself accountable. So you can have an accountability partner. You can have public declarations where you post your results every day, or you go live to show people that you're doing the thing that you said you're going to do. You can get yourself a coach. Here's what I want to say about coaching. I've been coaching people for a long time. And one of the things that I want to tell people about coaching is people say to me, hey, coach, thank you for holding me accountable. And here's the thing. I'm not holding you accountable. You are holding yourself accountable through your coach, through your accountability partner, through your public declaration, through your groups. So this is the misconception about accountability. Nobody can hold you accountable but yourself. Now, these are different ways that you can hold yourself accountable. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to do something, that's up to you. But I do like these things because I know that for sure, if you're not holding yourself accountable, that's when you are going to fall off track. Another thing you could do is journal the results. So you could, like, every time you decide that you're taking action, you can keep a journal, or you can have a checklist, or you can have a calendar on your wall and you can cross off every day that you took action on specific habits. And there's this thing in Atomic Habits, I believe it's called Don't Break the Chain. And you can play a game with yourself. So the cool thing about Don't Break the Chain is, and I do this with myself, if I don't achieve my daily goal that day, or I don't take enough action on with a specific habit one day, I try not to do it 2 days in a row. So don't break the chain is I'll cross it off. I'll say I did it today. The next day I didn't do it. I can't check it off. So then that very next day, I try to take action again so that I don't miss 2 days in a row. So that might be a really powerful game that you can play with yourself to hold yourself accountable, called Don't Break the Chain, where you don't miss taking action, massive action, 2 days in a row. So I just did that the other day. I went for my walk. I didn't get 8,000 steps. the day before, I only did like 4,000. So the next day, I had to do 12,000. I had to do the 8 for that day and the 4 that I missed the day before. So you can play little games with yourself to hold yourself accountable like that as well. But you have to find a way to hold yourself accountable for taking daily, consistent action. So that's habit number 2. Habit number 2, it's all about being accountable and holding yourself accountable through other means. So what is the takeaway that you had from habit number 2? Or secret number 2. Let me know in the chat. What is the takeaway from this secret? Holding yourself accountable. Hope that you're enjoying this. I know I'm liking it. It's really reminding me of the power of reprogramming our minds for success. And that's what habits are. Habits are really about reprogramming your mind and your body for success. And it puts it on autopilot so you don't have to worry about willpower. You don't have to worry about feelings. You don't have to worry about, I'm not in the mood. It just becomes automatic. That is the power of habits. You're making something automatic so that you don't have to think about it. So how can you set yourself up for success? What can you do the night before to make the next day easy? Less resistance, less friction. What can you do? Well, some of you talked about some of these habits that you want, dancing and more personal development and waking up earlier. What can you do the night before to set that up for success? Think about that. Put that in the chat. What is something that you can do the night before or earlier that day to set up yourself for success? Let me know in the chat. Keith said, go to sleep early. That's a good one. Pack an outfit, create a checklist, a power list. That's a good one from Love More. So these are the things that we have to start thinking about if we want to supercharge our habits. What can you do to set yourself up for success, right? A lot of us aren't setting ourselves up for success. There's too much resistance. There's too much friction. So then, of course, we're not going to take action. We have to make it easy. Awesome. Awesome. You ready for secret number 3 on how to supercharge your success with your habits? Let me know if you're ready for secret number 3. Type yes in the chat if you are ready. Ready. Love More said, let's go. Secret number 3 is habit stacking. How do we stack our habits? What is habit stacking? Well, I kind of gave you some examples already. When I do my walks, I do walk and talks. 2 things at the same time that I want to get done. I get my exercise in and I get to connect with my followers, with my clients, because I'm walking and talking at the same time, usually about topics that they want to know about. So habit stacking is combining multiple habits, but it's also using one habit to roll into the next habit. So let's take a look at this. Habit stacking is stacking the new habit onto a current behavior to help you to remember to do it and to perform it with less mental effort. See, that's the thing. Our brains are working too hard. We have to make it easy for us to do things. And the way to make it easy is to stack our habits, right? So that means as soon as you do one thing, you automatically go into the next habit, or you do 2 things together at the same time. So let me know, what are some habits that you can stack together? What can you do? How can you stack a few of the habits that you have? So let me know, what is a habit that you can stack? What are 2 things that you can do together that will help you increase your productivity, help you get things done quicker? What are 2 things that you can do together that's going to help you? Talking about habit stacking. So I just gave you one example with my walk and talks where I get my exercise while I'm walking, and then I connect with my clients online at the same time. So what would be something that you could do to stack your habits? I know going back to some of the habits, some people said they wanted to wake up early. Some people said that they wanted to dance more. Some people said they wanted to read more personal development. So when you're thinking about some of those habits, what are 2 or 3 things that you can do together? Or what's one thing that you could do that would lead into another thing? So I'll give you some examples here. One example of habit stacking is you meditate, right? So after I write down what I'm grateful for, I meditate for 3 minutes. So that would be a stack. I would journal or think about what I'm grateful for. Right after, that's a trigger for me to start my next habit of meditating for 3 minutes. Another example that would be exercise. So after I meditate, after I finish that meditation, I would get up right away and then go and exercise for 30 minutes. So that's another example of habit stacking. Habit number 3, stack number 3 is while I exercise, I might listen to positive affirmation audios. So that's a different way to stack habits. So think about what you can do to stack some of these habits. As you're exercising, can you do different things? While you're cooking your meals, what can you do? While you're reading, is there anything that you can do? How can you layer these things together, or how can one thing trigger another? Lovemore said personal audio room while packing and dancing. Absolutely. While you're getting ready for work, what are you listening to while you're getting ready for work? So as we start to kind of wrap up, I want you to think about what's one habit that is not serving you that you're going to start changing tomorrow. What's a habit that's not really serving you well? It's not helping you that you're going to change tomorrow. That's what I'm curious to know. Let me know in the chat. One habit that's not serving you that you're going to change tomorrow. See, we need to take massive action. We can't take a little bit of action. For you, if you know that there's something that you're doing that maybe you're not eating right, maybe you're not exercising, maybe you're not spending time self-reflecting, maybe you're not spending enough time with your family, maybe you're not doing enough job searching and you're trying to get out of this job, maybe you're not making enough business calls. What is one habit that you know that isn't serving you well that you are going to start changing tomorrow? Let me know. What's one habit? Because we all have habits. Listen, we all have habits that we know that aren't serving us. We know that. So which habit do you know that's not serving you that well, that you know that you need to change? Not next week, not 5 weeks from now, that you need to start changing tomorrow. And I know it may be scary, but there is always one thing that you can do right now towards changing your life. It could be research. It could be watching a YouTube video. It could be organizing yourself. It could be making a plan. There's always something that we can do now to change our life tomorrow or the next day or the day after. So what is something that you know that you need to change, a habit that you know you need to change starting tomorrow? For me, in my business, I have to make more offers. I'm not making enough offers to my clients. So that's definitely something that I have to change. But what is it for you? What is something, a habit that you know that you have to change? It's a bad habit. It's not serving you well. You need to change that. You need to revamp that habit. What is one thing that you know for sure is not serving you in terms of your habits? Everybody got quiet now. Everybody got quiet now. I'm the only one who has bad habits. Okay, I get it. I'm the only one. So definitely that's one for me when it comes to with my clients. I would say another one for me too is slowing down, like taking one day a week to just unplug, to just get out into nature. And I do that with my walks, but I mean like really just unplug because I'm always go, 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 go all the time, even on the weekends. And that's a really bad habit that I have, like just doing work on Sundays instead of just resting. So for me, that's another bad habit that I have to break and just be like, you know what? Sundays is my day to chill, to spend time with family, to do the things I like to do, like cooking. Y'all didn't know I'm good in the kitchen. So that's one of the habits that I really have to change. Just stop, go, go, go all the time. Take one day a week to just unplug. And so that's what I'm going to start doing this Sunday. Lovemore said, for me, it's business as well. Yeah. I think as business owners, some of us have to realize that even though, especially coaches, and especially those of us who love to give, at the end of the day, it's our responsibility to make offers to people, to let them know that they can go deeper with us, to let them know that we have things that they can buy, things that, are for sale. It's our responsibility. And I know as a coach, someone who's coached people for almost 20 years, it's always been a struggle off and on for me to make offers to people. I land clients because I used to land clients and people would just say, hey, Coach Stone's amazing, go buy his course, his program, but that's not a business. So I had to learn, and I still have to learn to make more offers. So Lovemore said it's business for her. That's one of the things that she kind of has to work on. For me, I said business too, to make more offers to my clients. And another habit that I have to start this week is taking one day off a week just to relax, to recharge, to spend time with family. So those are two habits that I have to change. What about anybody else? What's a habit that you have to start changing tomorrow? And it's scary. Like me saying that I'm going to unplug and not work, every day of the week and do something every day. That's a big change for me. But I know that I can do it because I've done it before. But it goes back to your why. Why do I want to do that? What's the value in me taking time for myself once a week? When you know what it is that you want and you're very clear and you know why it's a must, now you look at the gap. What is it going to take to make that happen? And you do that by taking daily, consistent action until it becomes automatic, until it becomes a habit. So look at what you're doing every single day. Think about what it is that you want in your life, why it's a must, and ask yourself, are these things that I'm doing helping me to get closer to my goal or my dream? Are these people helping me to get closer to my goal or my dream? How I'm spending my time, is it helping me to get closer to my goal or my dream? Only you can answer that. Only you can answer that. We have to start asking ourselves more powerful questions, be honest with ourselves with the answers, and then be willing to take action when the answers come. And we have to learn to develop better habits so that we're not relying on willpower and feelings. Your brain is already programmed to work for you, so you don't have to work for it. Joyful Connections Life Coaching said, I need to live more by myself. I like it. So, what are some things that you can do to live more by yourself? See, everything starts with asking ourselves questions. Where am I now? Where do I want to go? What's it going to take for me to get there? What do I have to do every single day consistently to make it happen? And here's another really powerful thing. If you want to know why our habits don't stick, why we fall off with our goals and our dreams, is this. Who do you need to become to make that a reality? Who do you need to become to make that goal or that dream a reality? See, what happens is we get a little bit of progress, we start to take some action, and then we fall off track and we never get back on track. And the reason is because we haven't made that identity shift. I talked about this before. A friend of mine, he said, I was talking to him one day. He used to be a smoker, a heavy smoker. And I said to him, he said, he told me he had quit smoking. And I said, oh, that's amazing, man. And then he immediately said, yeah, I quit smoking, 8 months and 3 days ago. And I said, okay, that's good for you. But let me ask you a question. Do you plan on smoking again? He's like, no, I quit forever. So I said, well, why are you counting the days? And he looked at me confused, said, what do you mean? I said, well, if you don't plan on being a smoker again, and now you're starting to identify as a non-smoker, you don't have to count the days because that's your new identity. Your new identity is I am no longer a smoker. I don't smoke. By counting the days, you're giving yourself an out to say, well, I don't really identify as a non-smoker, so I guess I'm still a smoker. So for a lot of us, we haven't made that identity shift. Who do you need to become to take that consistent action, to take action every single day with those new habits to achieve the goal and the dream that you want? And a lot of us just don't make that identity shift. We don't change. We don't start thinking and acting like that person that's going to get us the accomplishment that we want. Joyful Connector said, go live on my own platform by myself and not always in collaboration. Awesome. I love that. So when are you going to try your first live? One of the things is just give yourself a deadline. I'm going to go live on this day, even if it's only 10 or 15 minutes, right? We can start small. The thing about changing a habit and taking new action and creating a new mindset is we have to start small. If you start too big, you're going to be discouraged. Start small. What is one little thing that you can do right now? And then tomorrow, you just do 1% more. You do 1% more tomorrow. Then the next day, you do 1% more. Then the next day, you do 1% more. And all of a sudden, you're at 10 or 15 or 20% more. But by the time you get to 5 or 10%, you're going to start doing 50%, 30%, 10% more. Start small. One little step. And then the next day, I'm going to do, it's like exercise is a perfect example. Because you might say, you know what? I haven't exercised for a long time. I'm going to go for a 5-minute walk. You go for a 5-minute walk. Guess what? The next day you go back, you go for a 6-minute walk. Then the next day you go for a 7-minute walk. Then the next day you get bold and say, instead of 7 minutes, you're going for 12 minutes. And that's how goals work. You start small, and at some point, relatively soon, you start to go double and triple and quadruple what you did even 2 days or a week or a few weeks before. Mumbercat said, facts. Joyful Connection said, it won't be my first time. I just do it more with other people. I'm going to do it before this week is up. Absolutely. Yes, I love that. I love that. I'm going to have to follow you so I can see when you go live. So look, everybody, that is it. That's what I had for today. The 3 secrets to kind of help you supercharge your success by stacking your habits and breaking through. Let me know if you have any questions before we start to wrap up. The reason why I like going live is because it forces me to do my own homework and my own research and my own self-reflection on my own life. The thing about me is I don't get up here and talk about things that, 1, I don't really know about, or 2, I'm not interested in or I'm not curious about. So it forces me to read books and to research and to do self-reflection and to think about the time that I was successful and the time I failed and what happened. That's why I like going live. And for you, I just want you to know this. I truly believe that you have a champion inside of you. I believe that you have greatness within you. I believe that you're capable of doing so much more in your life. And if you learn to be honest with yourself and say, this is where I am, and this is where I want to be, and why, and the steps that it's going to take to get there, and you take daily consistent action, your life could look a lot different in 90 days. I just want you to know that. So that's why I go live. That's why the name of my company is called Champion You, because I believe that you have a champion within you. And hey, look, if you don't know who I am Danny Stone, also known as Coach Stone, is in the building. I help professionals and entrepreneurs break through limiting beliefs, get clear about what they want, map out their personal roadmap so that they can unleash their potential and make more impact, income, and influence. That's what I do. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel here, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Iamdanny Stone. Make sure you follow the Grind and Gratitude Show podcast on whatever podcast platform you're on. And make sure that you follow me on Instagram. I'm always active on there. So that is it. Go back, watch the replay, make some notes, leave some comments. I answer every single comment. I'm going to be going live every Wednesday for the next little while at 7 p.m. Eastern. So if there's any topics that you would like me to cover, let me know. Type it in the chat here, or if you're watching the replay, let me know in the replay or send me a DM. What is a topic that you want to know more about, that you're having challenges or struggles with? Let me know, and I'll go and do the research and bring my knowledge and my experience in that area. And if I don't know, I'll bring on a guest expert who does know. So that is it. Mumbercat said 100% have to hold yourself accountable. Lovemore said, thank you, coach. Joyful Connection Life Coaching said, I'm even more motivated. Thank you. I'm motivated too. I'm powered up and fired up. Thank you all for being here. This replay will be available tomorrow, so you can come back and watch it as many times as you like. Thank you so much for tuning in.